Hey everybody, it's Jasmine. So today I wanted to talk about my makeup collection series yet again. Today is a very requested video because a lot of you guys have been asking me to do all eyeshadow palettes, and girl, I have been slacking on it just because I have so many, and I don't know, I have a lot to say about each palette. So this video, I'm going to try and make it a little bit concise. This is a whole bag of my makeup palettes. So I'm just going to go ahead with the biggest palette that I own, and this is the Morphe 350. This is everything. If you freelance or if you just do makeup for fun, I think that this is one of the most perfect warm tone palettes, and I really wanted to get the Morphe 350 too, but I don't know, I can't, I don't know, something about me just won't buy it. But this palette is amazing. I just think that a lot of the shimmer shades in here are just spot on, and it's a really affordable palette. So if you ever was thinking about this palette and you were apprehensive about purchasing it, I'm here telling you that I have the stamp of approval for this palette. The next palette that I want to talk about is the Sigma Warm Neutrals palette. Now, let me first say that this palette is just neutral. Like, it's not warm and it's not cool, it's just neutral. They did just release the warm neutrals too, which I want to buy it today. I want to buy it right now. I really like this palette because when I do makeup on people, on clients, I really enjoy this when I do bridal makeup, just because everything in here is just very soft, but it works together in conjunction with just everything in this palette is really good. And so if you're eyeing this palette or you're eyeing the warm neutrals too, you want to probably, you know, save some money, you know, use a discount code, you know, ThatsSoYin at checkout, but it's up to you if you want to use it. The next two Morphe palettes that I have are the Copper Spice and Bronzed Mocha. Now, these palettes are so good. I think that just a small palette like this is just suffice. Like, it's just so good. This one is the Bronze Mocha 25B. Now, this one is my favorite out of the two. I think the formula in this overall compared to the 35 palette, they just have a little bit more blendability to them. And then here is what the Copper Spice looks like. This one is like for the days where I feel a little bit more fiery, but this one is definitely like my cup of tea. This palette, I love this palette. This is my Urban Decay Electric palette. I think that this is the palette where I just find a lot of creativity and like where all my creative juices flow. Whenever I open this palette, I just want to create. Like, I just want to do something, you know? It's just all these colors are so beautiful and just so vibrant, and this is the perfect colorful palette. Personally, Urban Decay, I don't really use you, but this palette is so amazing. I talked about this palette when I talked about my single eyeshadows, and they're just Morphe single eyeshadows all packed into a palette. I just think that investing in like some type of magnetic palette like this is a really good way for you to pick and choose what kind of palette you want, and you know, you get to curate it. You're your own boss, so getting one of these is pretty worth it. Shall I say, does have single magnetic palettes. I'll just show you real quick. I just have this one on hand, and they just look like this. They're just like small little cute palettes. And so if you're just thinking like, hey, I've never really found my perfect palette yet, you might want to do something like this. It's just simple and easy. My KathleenLights and Morphe palette. Oh my god. If you guys have been following me on Instagram for a long time, you guys know that Morphe reposted my picture when I used this palette. Like, it makes me like kind of emotional. Like, I was thinking about it today, and I just being that Morphe is just such a big brand, and for them to see my post through the millions of girls who tag Morphe in their pictures and they decide to repost me, that's honestly so crazy. And I love KathleenLights so much. This palette is so beautiful. I do have to say, however, that the Morphe palette that I curated, all the shadows in here are Morphe shadows. Take a look at mine versus Kathleen's palette. Like, they're almost similar, but here they are. I just feel like the green was substituted for like the blue and purple. But all in all, like you get like, this is my color palette, you know? And so I really enjoy this palette. I don't really use it on camera a lot just because it is limited edition and I know a lot of people don't have it. So when I'm usually like on my lives on Instagram and I do my makeup, you'll see me, you know, pop this in here and there, but that's the reason why I don't like to use like limited edition items on my YouTube channel that much, just because I feel bad that not everybody has it. I have 3 Colourpop palettes and I just have to say really quick that a lot of the times if you're looking for something from Colourpop and you don't want to spend the full price, you sign up for their emails and you have to be like on it. They will have flash sales and I think that that is a really good way to get what you want at a really good deal. And so very recently they actually had their palettes for 20% off, which I thought was really good. And so these are the 3 palettes that I have. This is the I Think I Love You palette. I have a review on it on my channel. I have the Colourpop Yes Please, and then I also, wait, this is the She palette, and then this one's the Yes Please. I'm going to open them very quickly, but I did mention these in a very recent video where I talked about gift ideas. So this is the Yes Please, a very warm tone, very red, sunsetty. Here is the She palette. This is the Carucci collaboration, and this is very purpley, rosy toned, and just kind of like a Valentine's Day palette to me. And then here is the I Think I Love You, where it's full of nudes and a lot of shimmers. And so I think that this is really good for like an everyday travel palette. I have 3 more Colourpop palettes, and Angel bought me these and I just can't. I love him so much. Oh my god. So he bought me the Heavy Hitter palette. Now on the boxes, they actually have the names, but you know, they don't have them on the actual container, so I actually had to tape it on the back. So this one is the Heavy Hitter palette and this is so pretty. He picked this out for me. Can you believe that? Like, he knows me. Like, that's so cute. And then he also got me the Gemini by Night. Again, God, this is so me. Like, that's so, I just can't believe it. And then this is the infamous ILuvSarahii Colourpop Saucy palette. Now I barely use this, but when I do, it's usually when I do a purple smoky eye, because these are the colors that I think are the best for a purple smoky eye. They are amazing, top-notch, great quality, and I really do enjoy Colourpop shadows a lot. I have some drugstore palettes with me. This is the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. Now this is actually the palette that introduced me to Wet n Wild as a brand. You don't see me use it because it's expired, but I really enjoy it just because it's just like a nostalgic item, you know? It just has a lot of memories in it. My cousin Christina bought this for me for Christmas, and I just don't think you can go wrong with Wet n Wild eyeshadows, honestly. Like, they're really, really good, buttery, pigmented, and they're well worth the hype. I have the City Mini palette by MaybellinexShayla. I do have a review on this on my channel as well. This palette I don't reach for very often, but there was a time where I was using this every single day, and it doesn't look like I made a dent in it, but I just think that the colors are so pigmented, you don't need to grab a lot. And I really enjoy this, and I just feel like back in the day, you know, when Maybelline first started making eyeshadow palettes, everyone was like, oh, these are so dry, chalky, all this stuff, which kind of deterred me away from getting the palettes, because I was like, why would I spend a lot of my money on something that I know people have negative reviews on? And I really like MakeupShayla. I actually have her collaboration with Flutter Lashes, her eyelashes that, God, I kind of like, but I kind of don't like. Like, it's just a hit and miss for me. But I was like, you know, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to give it a shot, and I really, really like it. So if these are still on the market, I feel like you should get it just because it's only like $7, you know? It's not gonna break the bank, and it's really, really good. Y'all, my first high-end palette, the chocolate bar palette. This is the OG, like, look how thick it is. Look. Oh my god, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. Oh, there it goes. So, mirror comes out. The names are not even in here. This is the OG palette where the names are on the slip of paper. Now the names are printed on the palette. It's a lot slimmer, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot more sturdy and durable. But this stuff, this palette right here, this is what got me into being really passionate about makeup, and I have to say like a huge thank you to my sister for this palette, because when this first launched, I remember I was at Sephora and you know, you just like look around and for some weird reason like this packaging just like caught my eye. I like looked at it and I remember I was just like leaning on the counter like this, like, wow, that palette's really cute, but it was obviously sold out because this just came out and everyone was like, oh my god, it's a palette that smells like chocolate. And on my birthday, she got me this palette and I cried. Honestly, like I cried. It was, I don't know, to me, like I can't throw this away. Like it has to stay in my collection and it's just like. And then I have these 3 Anastasia, no, I have another Anastasia palette, but I'm just gonna hold these 3 up for now just because these ones are limited edition. Now, if you watched my video where I talk about my products that I don't really care about, you guys saw this palette. This is the Anastasia Self-Made palette. Now, damn it, I just dropped it. Well, when Anastasia first came out with eyeshadows, all her eyeshadow palettes retailed for $35. Tell me if you remember that. And then when she came out with her Modern Renaissance palette, she jacked up the price to $45, and I was like, oh, whoa. Because to me, the Modern Renaissance had the same amount of eyeshadows as the Self-Made. Now look at this palette. What kind of color scheme is this? Like, I was on this like Anastasia obsession where I was like, I have to get everything ABH, like I have to get it, and it broke my bank, honestly. Like it really hurt me, but I don't know, I just got this just because it was her name, like it was her brand, and so I decided to get it, and I just don't use it, you guys. Like look at this, like there's 2 colors that are repeats. There's just a lot of cool tone shadows that I personally don't use. I'm not a cool tone girl. And there's just only 2 mattes and the rest are shimmer, or like they have some type of sheen, and I'm not down with that. I don't like that. So we're gonna move on into one of my favorite Anastasia palettes that if you didn't get this palette, I feel so sorry for you, sweetie. Like, like this is the best palette, honestly. This is the ABH Shadow Couture palette. I feel like there's 2 names to this. This is the Shadow Couture World Traveler palette. So yeah, there's 2 names. This palette is everything. This is beautiful. This is everything. I love this. Why wasn't this permanent? Like, what? And again, this was $35. And for something that's such good quality, it's just so mind-blowing. It's so good. I don't know. It's just, oh, I love it so much. Like, all these shadows, every single one of them in this palette, I use. And it's, oh, I love it so much. And I know, like, I'm just, like, being a little dramatic right now, but this why? Like, why wasn't this? I'm upset. You know, like, I really enjoy this palette, and for the fact that it was limited edition, it was just like, what are you doing? Like, you know, you will get so many customers if this was on your website all the time, you know, instead of your subculture that everyone just had a hit or miss with. Like, this is a hit. This is a hit. Oh, I love it. Now, the second high-end palette that I ever got was the Anastasia Artist palette. Man, I remember when I got this palette, I was in Sephora, and my friend in high school actually gave me a $25 gift card for Sephora for my birthday, and at that time it was the 20% off or 15% off or something percent off for VIB. So I used that on this purchase, and then I used my gift card, and so I only paid $5 for this palette because it was only $35, you know? And so I got it, and man, isn't this like a really good palette? Like, it's just really vibrant, really colorful, and it's just muted enough but vibrant enough. And as you can see, I really love this shade called Buttery. This is also the repeat shade that's in the Self-Made palette. I go into this palette on and off. You see me use it in a lot of my tutorials, well, some, not a lot, but some of my tutorials, because I just think that this is a nice, well-rounded palette. You can't get a full look from it, although I do have to say, like, it's just good when you need a couple shades, you know? Like, this isn't the palette that you travel with. This is the palette that you keep in your collection, and then when you need that certain shade, it's here. So I really appreciate this. And then I have the Modern Renaissance that I actually got last year for Christmas. Wow, I got this last year for Christmas. And this is actually a beautiful palette. My cousin Olivia got this for me. Thank you so much, Olivia. I know she watches my videos. So I travel with this palette, and I used it when I traveled to London for 3 weeks, and this is the palette. Like, I could use this in my brows if I wanted to. The shade called Cypress Umber. These two shimmer shades, I could use it as a face highlight, which is what I actually did. And these are just beautiful warm shades, and I just feel like this is a well-rounded palette. I'm so happy that this one in particular is not limited edition, just because it works. Like, I think that this came out right when the hype about warm shadows came out, so this came out perfect timing, and I really enjoy this palette. If you haven't gotten your hands on this, I would highly recommend it. And you know, you could honestly use your coupon, your Ulta coupon on it, you know, the 20% off prestige brand. And then last but not least, I have my Morphe 9A palette. Now, I do have a review on this palette on my channel, and this is actually my travel palette. Honestly, like, whenever I spend the night at a friend's house or anything like that, this is the palette I go towards. Or even when I'm just rushing out the door, like, what are like a couple of shades that I could just pop into my crease and then just leave the house? This is it. And I was very skeptical about these two shades in my review, but I ended up taking the back of my brush and just scraping over it just very lightly, and it ended up making the powders actually really beaming, and so I really like that. I really enjoy this palette a lot, and I don't know, it's just an inexpensive palette. You could use your Ulta coupons on it, and that's all I really gotta say. So that wraps up my eyeshadow collection, you guys. I hope you really enjoy. Let me know what your favorite palette is, whether it's in your collection or you see it here. I want to know. I'm nosy. So as always, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, you guys. Peace out, Girl Scouts.